Hello, Keith Prather here with NCM Marine update. So as we take a look at the March data, we did get a nice little improvement in the overall index. So came in at a 107.8 from about 107.4. So about 0.4% higher month over month. And, it's about 17% higher year over year. And we have to remember that compared to last year, we did have a little bit of seasonality in there. And we're going up against really easy comparisons, so that's one factor. But I would point out real fast that the index is still, if you look at the long-term trend line here, this dotted blue line, we're still seeing it now trending about where it should be and not falling well off of that line. So it is improving. It looks pretty good compared to maybe the historical averages. Not as good as the peak that we saw maybe early in 2025. We just didn't get that kind of euphoria and some of that optimism, that spending. Some people call it the tariff pre-buy, where individuals thought, well, maybe the price of that, that boat or whatever it is, the PWC that I was thinking about buying, is going to go up in price with the IEEPA tariffs that kicked in April. And so maybe I should go buy early, before all those tariff impacts start to hit the cost of a boat or a personal watercraft. And so we saw a little bit of that surge in buying, but I don't know that we're getting the same kind of reaction this time around. I think this literally could be a lot of households doing a little bit better, maybe being able to go out and to do some spending. I think the great wealth transfer has a lot to do with that. And we'll touch on some of that stuff at the very end of the video. I only had 3 slides for you this month because I want to spend more time talking about what's happening than actually showing you a bunch of charts. So the producer price index for boat building, we are seeing it continuing to go up. It's about 4.6% higher year over year. So this has 2 things. We typically watch this because it tells us that, number one, builders are still building, and so that's good. So we do still see them believing that they're going to have good demand moving forward. So as a dealer, that at least the OEM is thinking about pushing inventory your way. But the other thing is that typically it's going to give us an idea of what inflation is doing, and you can see, kind of going back last year, you can look and see what the inflation impact was on overall producer prices here. So we saw a surge, didn't go up anywhere near where we were in 2021 and 2022 yet, but this data was only available through February. So we want to look and see what the conflict premium is going to be on this. And so we're going to assume we're going to get a curve that kind of looks like this. We just don't know how high it goes and actually when it adjusts. We believe it's probably going to be in the April data or June data before you see this massive correction. And that correction, because this is a lagging indicator, the June data is not going to come out until almost July or August. And so we're going to be hearing about the inflationary impacts. We're going to be hearing about supply shortages and challenges long before we actually kind of see it in the data. So we've got to speculate just a little bit. So here's a couple things though that I did pull out this month that I wanted to talk about with you. So the first thing is that this was one of the best boat show attendance in a while. So better than the last 3 years. Most shows were reporting that we had good attendance. It was strong. And like I talked about last time when we did the recordings, the one thing that we're finding is that even if boat show attendance in a specific show, maybe the total numbers were down slightly, the quality of the person shopping is much better in the sense that they're real buyers. They're real seriously interested. People who are on the sidelines, who are just thinking that, now's not going to be the right time, a lot of them typically won't waste their time at a show necessarily. Sometimes, a lot of people like to go just to go. I do know that there's those folks out there. But if you're a marginal buyer, you're not going to go spend time and money and energy going to a show if you know that you're going to be a year or 2 years away from actually making a purchase. And so we think this time maybe there was a little more impact, but the types of individuals that were at the shows are probably real buyers and probably won't sit on the sidelines that long. We also know that when it comes to like the conflict, and you think about what's happening immediately in the market, and I think about that in terms of gasoline and diesel prices, it seems like most of the categories of boats are really impacted pretty heavily by a surge in diesel prices and higher gasoline prices. You think about the average 50-gallon tank on like just a runabout. And normally I mean, as we start to fill that up, and we did see gasoline prices at many marinas now are up above $7 a gallon for just gasoline, and for a lot of boat enthusiasts, that's going to get to the point where they're going to change their boating habits. They may move into more of a go get in the boat and we're going to go high speed to a spot, but then we're going to park and we're going to sit. And you may have more of that than you would normally just those that are out running around. And that impact may not seem like a big deal. Like you don't care what they're doing with the boat as long as they buy the boat. But it actually does make a difference because it does start to affect us on the services side of things. If we're out using the boat effectively and we're using it pretty hard, we're going to have a lot of repairs. We're going to need parts. We're going to need a lot of things. We're going to want to improve the performance. There are things that we need to go buy that's going to come out of the service side of our dealerships, and those are going to be important to us. But if we're just going out and we're sitting, we just don't have as big an impact or as big a demand. Now, where we do see almost no impact at all from fuel prices is what's happening in the fishing categories. And the fishing categories right now, we see some really good, interesting dynamics there because good job stability, wage growth in those categories are really solid, and historically they just aren't as price sensitive when it comes to a boat. The other thing about it is, again, the nature of fishing is I'm going to move fast to my spot and then I'm going to sit and I'm going to fish, and then I'm going to troll to the next spot. So only among really some of the top end high performance boats that are with the professional fishermen, when we think about the majority of where the sales are in the fishing categories, it's going to be in those areas where I think we're still going to see some pretty good, strong sales. Fuel price impacts, though, one thing that we do want to watch is that a big percentage of a lot of owners are going to stay docked. They're not going to move out, and a lot of potential buyers are also getting pushed out of the market, and so they're going to hold off on a lot of purchases, so their purchase intention goes down. And again, when customers are staying docked, I mean, they're not out running the boats in a way that it's going to cause repairs or help us on the service side of things. So there are some big impacts here in most categories of boats. Again, if there is a tailwind that can kind of fight against everything I just said, it's the great wealth transfer. If you're a household that's been just getting by, or maybe you've got a little extra wherewithal, and then all of a sudden a family member passes away and they push several $100,000 your way, if not what we're hearing, sometimes it's millions of dollars your way, then you look at the world differently, and suddenly fuel doesn't matter, fuel costs don't matter. The fact that you can go get a brand new boat or some kind of a PWC or a set of PWCs makes a big difference. And we still see a little over $20 trillion getting transferred over the next 5 years, and then it just ratchets up after that over the next decade or more. So again, I think that's interesting. The service department activity should remain fairly resilient. You're still going to see a lot of people who should be going out and replacing their boats, thinking just because of the cost of entry, cost of interest rates, a lot of the factors that are building headwinds against me, that maybe I'm going to go get a used unit and I'll just work with that used unit, and that's what we'll work with. And so the service departments get a little busier. Now, again, that being said, like I've said in some of the other videos across the NCM segments, we do have to watch carefully parts supply and what's happening with parts availability, because again, conflict in the Middle East is going to have a lagging effect on parts availability. A lot of the upstream supply chain problems are just now starting to surface, and those could filter their way down through into the bottom end of the supply chain if we can't find some suitable workarounds. If you don't have a domestic supply in the US that's building those parts, you could face some stock outs and some challenges. And then just going back to 2021 and 2022, I know at the time working through this marine sector that we were facing some real challenges in the supply chain. We saw a lot of delays, we saw a lot of back orders, a lot of problems fulfilling orders, for new boat sales and PWC sales. And so, yeah, we got a little bit of that working against us here. And so just be cognizant, just watch. And again, as I said in some of the other videos, your service department needs to be very careful about how they talk about the current delays. And even if they don't know if they can get a part, if what they're being told or what they're being shown is that it's an indefinite delay in getting a part, there's probably a right way and a wrong way to say that. And I'm just coming across from some personal examples of how that happened to me with a car I'm trying to get repaired, and it can get frustrating when they tell you, well, I just still have no idea. It could be a week, it could be 6 months. You just have to figure out how to get along until then without it. So there's a right way to say it, and that was the wrong way to say it. So anyway, I hope this is helpful. Again, I wish I could give you more certainty, but again, if you haven't watched it, go watch the macroeconomic video that I did this month, because we talk a lot about Strait of Hormuz and the impact there and kind of what's happening. And so I do think it has such a material impact overall. Okay, run a little bit long, but I hope everyone stays safe. I hope you have a great month, and look forward to seeing you next month. All right, take care.